One thing that I always thought that was interesting about Ed and Eddy was Ed and Eddy. I don't know why I keep doing that. I
It's hard. Edd N Eddy. Yep,
Ed
it's
and
hard
Eddy.
to
It's
say.
a tongue twister in itself. Ed and
Edd
Eddy.
N
Ed and
Eddy.
Eddy. Ed and Eddy. Ed and Eddy. Ed and Eddy. The one thing that I found interesting. I don't know how this happened, but I guess every once in a while, it would probably happen on Reddit or maybe it was a YouTube thing. But like the creepypasta stuff,
Mm,
there's like a lot of weird fan theories about the 90s cartoon shows and like 2000 and like early
yeah.
2000s, like just things from our childhood specifically. There's a lot of weird theories on everything. Like there's the Friends show theory that like they're all like a figment of Phoebe's imagination and she's a drug addict, or there's like the Rugrats one where
Yeah. I
like
was gonna say the Rugrats is there's a similar one with Rugrats with Angelica,
oh,
and they're all
that one's trippy. They're all like figments of her imagination because like
yeah,
some of them died and all that stuff. Like I think
yeah,
Phil and Lil are stillborns or something,
yeah,
and she didn't know what they were. I don't know. It's a messed up. All the theories are messed up, but the
yeah.
Ed and Eddy ones are pretty crazy. Like the number one is that like all the kids living in Peach Creek, which is the cul-de-sac that they're in,
Hmm.
is that all of the kids living in there are dead and stuck in an endless purgatory. This
Yeah.
is from ranker.com. There's like 10 theories here or something like that. And I'll just read them off to you a little bit. Dying during various periods of time between the 1900s and 2000s, the Peach Creek kids are all stuck in an endless purgatory. Their mannerisms and environments not only reflect their past lives, but also the ways that they died. Rolf is the son of a shepherd who was trampled to death by farm animals. Jimmy passed away from leukemia, and Ed and Eddy, hey, did at that time, are all dead. All died as a result of their own depressing and tragic accidents. The fan theory explains why the kids all have blue dead tongues and why they're seemingly stuck in an endless summer vacation.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
that
interesting how many of these fan theories are always like everybody else is dead and there's one person hallucinating them, or like they're all dead and their characters are based on how they died. Like it's like every single one of these like fan theories of these '90s shows is like the same thing basically,
you
just
gotta
slightly tweaked.
you gotta wonder what's going on in the minds of the people who invented this.
I know
It's like, why do you immediately gravitate that all of the characters are dead?
yeah,
Like, why is that the number one
yeah.
thing that pops into your head?
They're always dead or like drug addicts or like it's a freaking drug fueled hallucination or something like
Yeah,
it's
there's never a happy theory. But you know what
no
would get them happy theories? If some of these people, instead of coming up with these strange cartoon theories to hide their repressed memories or their fears, if they got the help that they properly deserved. BetterHelp gets you licensed professionals that are able. We don't have a sponsorship from
yeah,
BetterHelp. I just
yeah, we're
wanted
giving
to,
free money right now,
but
free money.
free money to BetterHelp. I like Jim
Better
Cornette's
help.
podcast, so you know what? You can get BetterHelp and learn a lot more information by using the code DRIVE. That's DRIVE to
Hint, hint,
BetterHelp.
better help.
Since
Give us
BetterHelp won't give us
sponsor.
money, give Jim Cornette some more.
Hint, hint. Better help. Give us a sponsorship, and we'll
Yes,
just
BetterHelp,
plug
give
you.
us the damn money
Yeah.
and a discount, because Lord knows I need it. But I don't know. We have a bunch of weird things, or like here's another one here, like double. All right, this is a little happier. Double D's hat hides a cosmetic embarrassment. Like I guess he's a bald kid or something like that. But then there's something else here. Whatever lies underneath Ed's hat is a flat out cosmetic embarrassment, coinciding with the purgatory theory. What's under Ed's hat might be from the accident which led him to his death, and a standalone theory. His cloth hat and obscurity of his eyebrows are a full head expose that Double D is a cancer survivor. Why do they keep going to the cancer with this? Who is
I
most
get it's
likely
always so
embarrassed by
morbid.
the cosmetic aftermath.
I always thought Double D wore his hat because like his brain was like showing through his head or something. It's like because he's like smart, so like it's like he's got a big brain. It's like popping out of the top of his head,
I mean,
so he's gonna wear a
maybe.
hat to cover it. I don't. There's one episode where like his hat comes off, but you like the viewer doesn't get to see it, but Eddie and Ed do, and like Ed's like that's weird, and Eddie's like they like comment on it, and it's like the weird. They're like, what the hell? Like is And then like Ed's like, don't tell anybody. Like,
Yeah, like
Ed,
one of them apparently asks him, "Does it hurt?"
yeah, yeah.
Here's another one. The Eds are representations of the psychological. How many are there? Yeah, there's 10. All right, so I'll try to go through them because these are getting even weirder as they go along. I mean, I don't think anything's weirder than they're all dead and in purgatory, but the Eds are representations of the psychological outcomes of parental neglect. Oh, but I feel bad for whoever's coming up with these. Edd N Eddy is a fun. All right. Edd and Eddy are all victims of parental abuse and neglect, which has led them to having the extreme psychological issues they unveil during the show. This has led to the Eds to being the token outcast, banding together as a reflection of the outcome of abuse. Ed lives in a gross basement. Double D is overly nitpicked by sticky notes with no real communication with his family, and Eddy is tormented by his older brother, leading to their own cycle of problems expressed through their anxieties, violence, and addictions. The thirst... Oh, no. The thirst for jawbreakers. Here's the missing link. The case cracker. Me in the shower. The thirst for jawbreakers symbolizes addiction. If you get the reference... Well, you do.
One of my favorite movies.
Mine too. If any of you listeners out there in digital media device land get the reference, good for you. If you
don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe about it on the
YouTube. Go. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us that, hey, good reference, my favorite movie. And if you don't get it, well, watch my cousin Viddy, you'll find out.
Yeah.
The thirst for the jawbreaker symbolizes addiction in this theory. Why the kids always have to concoct elaborate scams to get their hands on the jawbreakers is because the kids aren't actually kids. They're young adults hooked on drugs, masked under the veil of a kid's cartoon show. Oh, I thought they were going to say they were all like crack babies and like the jawbreakers are like an analogy for or
crack rock
for crack rocks. I mean, hey, why not? Let's fuel that. While the kids are broke and scheming, in contrast, Kevin has lots of money in a garage full of jawbreakers, making him the representation of a kingpin and leaving the Eds as struggling addicts. All right, if you want to go up that allegory route, sure. Here's another one. Eddy's brother and Ed's mom hooked up, and that's how Sarah was born. Oh,
theories are weird. Like, these people who come up with this shit are like fucking. It's like they're writing the creepy fanfics for Edd N Eddy, basically.
They really need better help. Although Sarah and Ed are brother and sister, they look almost nothing alike. Sarah actually seems to have much more in common with Eddy than Ed, sharing the same thin lips with an overbite. All right, well, that's reaching for straws. The slouchy posture and his snappy tendencies. The fan theory suspects that Eddy's older brother and Ed's mom had an affair. Would totally explain why Sarah looks and acts so much like Ed. I mean, the animator drew them that way, but all right. Here's number 6. Each kid in Peach Creek is an embodiment of one of the 7 deadly sins. All right, there could be something there. This speculates on the character design for each kid in the cul-de-sac has been sculpted in the form of one of the 7 deadly sins. Some perfect examples of this sinful sculpting can be seen in Eddy's greed for money and candy, Ed's sloth with his lazy nature and overeating, Johnny's envy for others over their friendships with real people, Kevin's prideful and flashy nature, Sarah's hot-headed wrath, the way everybody lusts over Naz, and Rolf's gluttony for meat with his locker stash full of flesh. Okay.
I don't know. I don't see Rolf as the gluttony. That's a stretch, that one.
It might be. I haven't watched the show enough to comment. It's probably unlikely, like all of these. Number 7, I've seen this one. The Canker sisters are actually demons who love to terrorize and wreak havoc. All right.
I don't know.
This is weird.
I don't like when they try to plug in supernatural stuff where they're really not there. You know, it's like this is just a stretch. Some of these theories.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of like the lending itself to the purgatory thing. The Canker sisters are different. They're rude, crude, and overly attracted to the Eds. But what's super weird is that they're the only ones on the show who have normal colored tongues. While the extreme separation from the other characters, because they're actually demons sent from hell who take pleasure on preying on the weak-willed. I think that's a big I think that's the biggest stretch of this whole show. They keep getting more and more ridiculous
I know.
as we keep going.
Yeah.
Plank isn't just a piece of wood; it's a chaotic entity of its own. All right, so Plank, I guess the Wilson to Johnny's Tom Hanks. It's Johnny 2x4s.
Yeah.
I guess it's his Wilson to Johnny's Tom Hanks in Castaway. Johnny's 2x4 is imaginary. His friend is a suspiciously sentient. That is probably because Plank is a supernatural entity on its own. While not evil, Plank is a special being with an intimate attachment to the universe who also harnesses a startling amount of completely unfathomable knowledge for an inanimate object. Plank also likes to stir the pot, upsetting the everyday balance of the cul-de-sac and sparking up a bit of fun-loving chaos with his deviant humor while he does. I don't think that makes any sense at all.
A lot of these theories seem like it was just written by people who have way too much time on their hands. And
I mean, that's kind of how these theories end up happening on every show anyway.
But you know what? There's like some theories that I think are like legitimate. Like there's a theory that
I think some could be, but I don't think on this show.
Not on this in particular, but like there's a theory that like Friends, Seinfeld, and Mad About You all happen in the same like universe. Because Ursula, who's Phoebe's sister on Friends, is also a waitress on Mad About You, and it's actually Ursula. Like that's her name, and it's played by Lisa Kudrow.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. The Mad About You and Friends are without a doubt in the same universe. But also Mad About You has Kramer sublets his apartment from one of the characters on Mad About You.
Oh, really?
And that's actually in an episode of Mad About You. They go to Kramer's apartment and like they see Kramer. And also Jerry Seinfeld is in an episode of Mad About You playing Jerry Seinfeld.
You know, I never watched Mad About You.
Neither have I.
Huh.
But I read all.
What a weird show to connect those.
Yeah, so Mad About You is like the nexus and to link Friends and Seinfeld, and they're basically all in the same universe. They take place in the same universe.
Okay.
And it's viable. Like there's that viable. Yeah.
Because like Friends and Seinfeld seem like they take place on different different sections of New York.
Yeah.
But they take place in the same time period. So.
Well, Friends takes place a little bit after Seinfeld because Seinfeld ended in 98, 99, and Friends had started by then, but it was like only like halfway through or less than it. They only had gone a few seasons by the time.
I mean, it still could take place around the same time. Like it's just Friends could take place on like. You know, more like the lower side of Manhattan, where like Seinfeld could take.
Well, no, I think they take place
on more the upper side of Manhattan.
No, they take place. I think both on the Upper West Side because Friends live
the cafe is Central Park, so they're like
they live right in Central Park. Friends and Seinfeld lives on the Upper West Side. That's just see that multiple times. So, but I mean, the city is huge, so like they could. Not encounter each other necessarily,
Yeah, I mean, it is possible. I mean, I live in New York, so it's like how many millions of people have I never met and will never meet that live
right? Yeah, do you know everybody that lives on like the 2 blocks away from you? No. You probably never met anybody that lives 2 blocks away from you.
No, probably not. I've probably seen the same people a bunch of times in like certain places, but I haven't seen everybody.
Yeah.
Like there's some guy in the park who like does juggling every once in a while. But I don't see him every day.
Yeah.
Here's another one. There's like 3 or 4 more. I'm just gonna get through these because they're just getting even more weird. Eddie's older brother is every kid's evil counterpart. That sounds stupid. During the television series, Eddie's older brother is only spoken of, and it isn't until the movie Edd N Eddy's Big Picture Show until audiences actually get to meet him. Eddie's brother is a huge jerk, but serves as a counterpart to every kid's personality. As the only adult ever seen in the universe, his existence is actually a manifestation of every kid's personality traits, except if they were siphoned of all of their morals. While Sarah might be an abusive sibling who eventually comes to her senses about her actions towards her brother, and Kevin might be a mean kid with a kind heart, Eddie's brother has none of these good aspects that balance him out. making him the ultimate antagonist of the series. It sounds like this person just really like tried to latch onto something like most of these. All right, here's another one. This maybe it's viable. The entire series takes place over the course of 1 year. I mean, that probably could make the most sense. They seem to be living in an endless summer fantasy. This fan theory frames the show's lifespan as a single year. The reason why the summer seems so long and eternal is because it's actually just one summer vacation for the lot.
That's pretty. I think that's a viable. That's a viable theory because I'm pretty sure that's actually like canon in the lore that the first couple seasons take place during the summer, then they go to school, and then the movie takes place the next summer. I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
It says that too. Actually, it says the episodes that take place during the school and the holidays all happen during the next year, and the movie doesn't take place until the next summer. Which that's viable. All right, so we got one. We got at least one good theory.
Yeah.
Sorry, so this person didn't have too much time in their hands, and didn't try to connect it to any strange traumas that they or someone they know may have, or some fascination with the supernatural.
The kids are really Cthulhu cultists trying to bring about the end of the world by summoning eldritch horrors. Like, it's like what?
Why not? Actually, this next one is close to that. The cul-de-sac harbors an asylum for the mentally ill.
Well,
the unsuspecting cul-de-sac where the kids dwell is a never-ending summer fantasy because it's actually an advanced. Actually, just to add to that last theory, when you were a kid, summer vacation seemed to last forever. So that also adds the plausibility to that. Because if you're taking it from like a child, from like the mind of like, 11 to 13-year-old, you're still like your summer vacations are still pretty damn awesome, and they feel like they don't end.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that. All right, but here's this one. The unsuspecting cul-de-sac where the kids dwell is a never-ending summer fantasy because it's actually an advanced containment facility for the mentally ill, with each person present in the sac suffering from illness ranging from the delusions of grandeur to detrimental personality disorders. They have been thrown into a program which nurtures the mentally ill instead of institutionalizing them. Instead of the cul-de-sac being a figment of reality that's all in their heads, the theory explains how what's in their heads actually made the reality they live in. That's a stretch.
But, I mean, something like I said, these theories they just get ridiculous, more ridiculous, and more ridiculous. We've had one viable one. Yeah, exactly.
BetterHelp. It's what's for breakfast. I mean, I guess if it could be if you're really craving an omelet and you get that good omelet, so that does help you for the better. But yes, would you like a licensed therapist right at your house as soon as you wake up? Well, BetterHelp and Extra Money can do that. And you can get BetterHelp and a live-in therapist with extra money. Here's the final one. Ed, this one is just another. It seems like another stretch of somebody trying to combine a universe. Ed was an experiment from the kids next door, but they kicked him out. Ed himself might be a dimwit, might be dim-witted. All right, this person had an error grammatically, but there's a secret that explains not only his mental state, but the reasoning behind his physical strength, sickly colored skin, and massive stature. The kids from the cartoon Codename Kids Next Door. I've seen a couple of episodes of that. It was okay, but again, I didn't. It was like one of those math shows for me. Also, needed an operative who could tank through opponents and threats. So they decided to experiment with Ed. Instead of making him the massive operative they wanted him to be, the results backfired, and Ed became some sort of a monstrous goon. And they kicked him out to the cul-de-sac.
Okay,
that's something that somebody just. It sounds like somebody just really wanted that to be the case.
Yeah, I don't see Codename Kid Next Door and Edd N Eddy being in the same universe. They're not even the same style of animation. Like,
I don't think that's the case. I think this is just somebody who liked both shows a lot and really just wanted to find a connection. So they just made it up. It would be one thing if, like, you occasionally saw, like, spy stuff following Ed.
Yeah.
Or if, like, there was something, like, just off, or if he'd like talk into a radio or something every once in a while, but like there's nothing there. Or even if the animation style was at least similar, then like maybe you could like have something to go on, but there's really nothing there.
Yeah, I mean, like there's shows like the Jenny Tartakovsky shows. Like I'm pretty sure Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls were in the same universe, because I'm pretty sure there's an episode where the Powerpuff Girls team up with the Justice Friends from Dexter's Lab.
Yeah.
And Monkey, at some point. So I'm pretty sure all the Jenny Tartakovsky shows were in the same universe, but I don't think any of the other cartoon shows were linked, other than like some kind of crossover event that Cartoon Network did, like where they, would have like, it wasn't even like an actual show. It was like the little like network ID kind of things, where they would have like all the cast members, all the different shows, like walking around behind backstage and stuff, and they all were friends and knew each other, like. But that was kind of like, it was supposed to be like a behind the scenes kind of thing, like. So I don't think they're actually in lore wise in the same universe.